Good morning, everyone. I was thinking of posting this video on Sunday, but then I said, no way. With the winter hiatus currently in progress, I figured, let's talk about Once Upon a Time right now. I don't want to stop talking about Once Upon a Time on YouTube with you guys because I love discussing it. So with this video, I figured, let's talk about the Dark Swan arc, the Camelot arc, the Brave arc, aka the Season 5A storyline. And I just want to discuss it with you guys so we can, talk about it in depth because it was a pretty decent arc, but it had a lot of issues. So let's get right into it. So this arc dealt with the Dark Swan, the Darkness, Camelot, and the characters from Brave. So I would say the Dark Swan was the most interesting part of this arc because the writers really focused on Emma, and they also focused on Hook, and they also focused a bit on Rumple, at least with making Rumple the voice in Emma's head. Now, we all thought from the promotional photos and the promotional trailers for this arc that Emma was going to be the big bad for the season. But she ended up being more of an anti-hero / hero in disguise. And it was kind of unfortunate in my opinion because I felt the writers really could have made Emma this intensive, big, bad, chaotic demon who is going to cause so much trouble for everyone. But they decided to go in a completely different direction, a direction I liked, but not a direction I wanted. For any of you who are fans of, say, Sailor Moon, in Season 2, Sailor Moon's daughter is corrupted by an ancient evil force, very similar to how Emma is corrupted by an ancient evil force. But the ancient evil force turns her into a demon, pretty much, named Black Lady, and Black Lady has no qualms with killing her own mother. She doesn't care. She's so corrupted, so power hungry, she was a perfect villain, and the writing there, in my opinion, was the perfect way to make a good character go evil. She became more of a threat than the actual antagonist of the series, minus the ancient evil force, who was eventually defeated. So I really thought Once Upon a Time was going to go in that route. But they decided to, make Emma the anti-hero or the hero and focus on Dark Hook and, King Arthur. So let's talk about King Arthur for a second. King Arthur was a very interesting character on this show because Liam Garrigan, portrayed him really, really well. The Crazy King was really interesting. But the problem was they were focused on the Brave storyline and they were trying to get everything in the Once Upon a Time, the Dark Swan storyline in. I don't know why I said the Once Upon a Time storyline. That didn't make sense. This is all about Once Upon a Time. But either way, they were trying to get everything into this arc that they kind of failed with developing the Camelot characters who were really hyped up. Arthur, Merlin, Lancelot, and Percival all got promotional photos for the season. We were thinking they were going to be really big, important characters, and they ended up being quite the opposite. I mean, Arthur definitely had a lot of role, or very much a big important role, but Lancelot, Guinevere, and Percival ended up being really useless, and it was really unfortunate. For example, I really wanted to learn more about Guinevere and her relationship with Arthur, particularly if she was ever trying to fight the dust that Arthur had put on her. And I would have loved if at the end of 5A that they wrapped that up and she was free from Arthur's spell and able to reunite with Lancelot. But I really have to admit, I did enjoy Arthur's psychoticness. He was really interesting in that regard. However, when they talked about Arthur turning Storybrooke into the new Camelot, I thought, okay, let's have a battle. But there was no battle. Though I did really enjoy that scene when Emma fought Arthur with Excalibur, and he looks at Excalibur and he is just in plain shock that Emma was able to reforge it. That was really, really cool. The other Camelot characters were just really unfortunate. There was Violet and Henry. That relationship was okay, I guess. I really don't care for Henry. But Emma pulling out Violet's heart to break Henry's heart to free Merlin from the tree, that was pretty cool in that regard. It really showed Emma going to whatever it takes to pretty much save herself and save her family. Another thing about Emma to talk about is, like I said, we really thought Emma was going to be this big bad. And from the way the Dark Swan itself, the first episode, ended, we thought she gave in the darkness. But the thing is, she never truly did. Yes, she multiplied the darkness to save Hook's life after he was nicked by Excalibur. But Emma did everything in the name of good, pretty much. And I really thought, well, I'm not seeing her become an evil in Camelot, so I guess she's always good, and I guess that's a good way to do it. The only thing about the whole arc in general that I really didn't care for was at the end of it when Hook died, that Rumple ended up becoming the Dark One. He's a power addict, I guess, but I was just, again, like, really? We really have to make him the Dark One? Because one of the things on my wish list was for him to stay a good character, and that didn't happen, which was very unfortunate. So we discussed Camelot, we discussed the Dark Swan, so let's discuss Brave. Also, one thing to quickly note is Merlin. Merlin was supposed to be the most powerful wizard of all time. He was foreshadowed at the end of Operation Mongoose. He was in a tree for most of the episodes, and then when he was released from the tree, he was killed 3-4 episodes later. I believe 4 episodes after he was released from the tree. And I thought, why? Why did you kill off the most powerful wizard on the show? They could have done so much with him. Elliot Knight could have done so much as Merlin, but that didn't happen. And it was just unfortunate. Granted, the way they killed him was pretty interesting by having Nimue be the one to crush his heart, even though it was really Hook doing it. So I thought that was pretty cool, but it was just so unfortunate they had to get rid of him. However, I imagine Merlin might be in the underworld. What do you guys think about that? So let's talk about the last thing that I really didn't get to focus on yet, is the Brave storyline. I enjoyed Amy Manson's portrayal as Merida. She was flawless. I wish that Merida and Emma had a better relationship, and maybe Emma might apologize to everything she did to Merida. That would be quite nice. I just loved Amy Manson as Merida on the show. She was so perfectly casted. However, casted isn't a word. However, the Brave storyline took away from the Camelot storyline and from the Dark Swan storyline. For example, on the episode or the night that the Bear and the Bow, or the Bear King and Birth aired, when Birth finished, everyone was like, okay, let's go back to Storybook, let's see more. But no, all we got was Merida, and it just slowed the story down. And I liked the Bear King. I loved, just Amy Manson had a great time there, but it was just useless to the overall flow of the story. So I would say the Brave arc was really there to grab the attention of new viewers and show us a live-action Merida, which was done quite well. And her relationship with her father, with her mother, with her 3 brothers, and even with the other lords was really great. But Merida's story was just very slow with, or a very slowing down of her other storylines, which was unfortunate. So I guess the last thing to note is the Dark Hook. So Colin O'Donoghue had a ton of fun being Dark Hook, and I thought Dark Hook could have been an antagonist that would have lasted a very long time. And I keep calling Dark Hook the Spell of Shattered Sight because that's pretty much what he was. The Spell of Shattered Sight was hyped up to be this impossible spell to break, and it was broken in an episode after it was cast. Pretty much after Hook became the Dark One, or realized he was a Dark One, he was killed the episode, or an episode or 2 later. And it was just really unfortunate that that had to happen. And I felt so bad for Emma there. Jennifer Morrison did a beautiful job at portraying the killing him and reacting to his death. And Colin O'Donoghue, like I said, had a great time being the Dark Hook, but I thought they could have done so much more with that too. Though I really did enjoy many of their scenes in Broken Heart. Broken Heart was a fantastic episode. A little all over the place, but fantastic nonetheless. And Swan Song was fantastic too, at least in the present day. I really didn't care for the flashbacks in that episode. But overall, I felt this season was really, really interesting. Or this part of the season was really interesting. It led up to a very powerful arc that's coming. I love the trailer for that arc. I can't wait to get a full trailer from the Oscars. That will definitely deserve a shot-by-shot review and a full trailer and review video. We will be discussing that as it comes out. And guys, also please let me know whenever you get any Once Upon a Time news. Tell me and I will, make videos about it because I want to discuss with you. So the last thing, I guess, to say to wrap up the video is I would say that this arc is not as strong as the Frozen arc or the Wicked Witch of the West arc, but it's better than the Queens of Darkness and the Peter Pan arc. Now, season 1 and 2 were just overarching stories. The other seasons have all been arcs. So I would say it would go it would actually go Queens of Darkness, Pan, the Dark Swan, the Wicked Witch, Frozen. And I feel like that's a very solid ranking of the arcs of the show. This one I liked. I felt they could have gone other ways, but they had a lot to do. And they tried to do pretty much too much, and it didn't backfire on them, but it also kind of derailed them. For example, what was going on with Zelina? She had her baby, but every time she had an opportunity to redeem herself, she refused to do it. She had some pretty cool scenes with Arthur, but I felt that they could have done so much more with the Wicked Witch and made her a very powerful antagonist. Hopefully that'll happen in 5B, as I heard she's coming back then after her banishment to Oz. The other characters, like Regina, Snow White, David didn't do too much because the focus was intensely on the brave characters and Arthur and on Emma and Hook. But every episode that had Regina as a focus was fantastic. For example, in Dreamcatcher, when Merlin was freed and how Regina and Emma bonded. There was a good chunk of Swan Queen moments in this season, which was very nice, which I think a lot of fans enjoyed. So a lot of Captain Swan, a lot of Swan Queen. Very strong season, but definitely has its flaws. So overall, let me know what you guys thought of the Dark Swan arc in the comments below. Like I said, share anything about Once Upon a Time that's new. I will discuss it with you. But please, share your thoughts. And I really hope you enjoyed my video discussing the overarching story of Season 5, Part 1. So like I said, share your thoughts in the comments below. And I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And thank you guys for watching this review, and I'll talk to you all later. Bye.